Yeah, the question was an example of some of the projects that completed. One really good one was down in Mill Creek watershed, the Mill Creek down by Scott Bar. Timber Products and Forest Service are the majority land-based owners down there. We did road inventories probably 7 years ago on the complete watershed on both public and private lands. There were, I believe, 3 crossings. When you do the calculations for what size culvert it should be, that based on a 100-year event, it spit out it should be a bridge. And so over time, as a result of the inventory over the next couple of 3 or 4 years, Timber Products and the Forest Service collaboratively worked together and shared money and found funds, and they replaced those crossings with bridge. And it became effective in terms of road processes, reducing sediment, but fish passage because they were down pretty low in the system. And a large effort, but I think that's a real good example of some of the things that result from this. Yes?
Do you have a phone number or email address for Upland Committee?
Yes. A couple of them, phone number and email address for the Upland Committee. Probably the easiest way right now is my office number, 468-2888. And my email islalexander@siscutel.net.
Thank you.
You bet. Other questions? Very good. I'll turn it back to you, Brian. Oh, one back here. Okay, the question is the definition of a stakeholder. I don't know what the correct one is. My definition of a stakeholder and people working together is anybody who's a landowner or anybody who lives here is a stakeholder. And I mean, that's my definition. And it doesn't matter if you own a city lot or 10,000 acres, you're a stakeholder and part of the community and part of this watershed. Well, I don't know who they are, but you know, there's a lot of rhetoric going on out there, and there's a lot of different opinions and stuff like that. But I think I like to just keep things the basic and kind of what's real. If you live here and you own here and you're participating in the committee, you're a stakeholder. Yes, in the back. Well, that's a very good question, and I think the board's they've probably heard that question numerous times from different stakeholders. I don't have that answer. What we're focusing on as landowners and land managers is to focus on best management practices for our lands. I won't say irregardless of regulatory issues, but we really try to focus on what's best management practices for the land. And hopefully that meets some of the needs as we go and trying to work with that. But that is a question that we do have. What is the end game? You know, because we think that hopefully these TMDL processes and all these regulatory are leading toward some kind of delisting or you know, taking the river from being supposedly classed impaired to being fine. And so hopefully all this is toward that end. So that's what we're focusing on. Yes? Well, the best I know in the last 40 years there have been a lot of improvements and changes in management practices. As always, it affects all of us, including public land managers, is budget concerns. You know, as an example of public land managers, over time now we have this infrastructure of road systems out there, which is an asset, but now the local managers are constrained by lack of budget money and having to make decisions on, you know, classifying the roads differently. Some are done annually, some are done, you know, every so many years. And I know improvements have been made, and I know the effort is to try to go in, try to move toward having to do things every year and do the kind of fixes that require minimal maintenance. And I see a lot of that happening. But, you know, a road is like any structure, and it does need some level of maintaining. But I have seen improvement. What the future holds, I have no idea, because, you know, Congress hasn't passed a budget yet, and fiscal year ends in September. Who knows? You know, things are pretty unsettling out there. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Larry.